My parents were first generation to Canada, and they wanted me to marry somebody more of my background. But when I brought Dave home, my parents looked and they went, "He's white." And I was kind of confused because I really didn't know there's a difference. I think as you have kids, you struggle because one has to take care of the kids, one is trying to make money to keep the house going.
Each stage has been an adjustment. Every time something new happens, it upsets the balance, and we have to talk it through, figure out what the new way to do things is. There's never been, I don't think, a time where we've rested in one spot for very long before there's another change on the horizon.
I was at home with the kids and I was lonely, and he's working long hours, he's coming home, he's exhausted. And, we've had to figure out how to slow that down.
And we did.
And we did. That's what marriage is. How do we figure this out?
Hi friends, thank you so much for joining me here on Upia TV again. You're welcome if it's your first time. My name is Terry Thuo, and today we have Valentine's special session. Today we are talking about love. Love is precious. What does love mean to you? Is it roses? Is it flowers? Is it money? Is it phone calls? What does love mean to you? Today is the question we are going to ask our favorite couple. Today we have a very special couple, and it's Lorraine and David. And they're going to take us on their journey of love, how they met, how they have kept their love going, how long they have been married, the challenges that they have met, the success stories they can give us, and the encouragement that they can give us, or in the ways that if they believe in love or marriage, or the way they can tell us it's not true, we have to stay away from such thing. So keep it here and let's wait and hear from them. Without further ado, let us welcome Lorraine and David. Welcome, friends. Welcome, Lorraine. Welcome, David. Thank you so much for having us today and for willing to share your love story with us. We'll start with you, Lorraine. How did you guys meet?
We met as we were both working at a movie theater when we were teenagers.
Okay.
And Dave was the bossy doorman.
Yeah.
And I was the candy girl, and I also was a cashier. And David and I decided to go out we had to work a double shift. So we agreed to go out for dinner. And we went out for dinner, and I found out he was kind of a very intelligent person. And he had lots of good things to talk about, and we had a lot, and it was a very, very eye-opening, because he wasn't the type of person when I saw him I would ever really thought didn't pique my interest or nothing. There wasn't. But as soon as I talked to him and I found out, he told me who he was, it piqued my interest.
Oh,
Yes.
That's good. Is that how you remember it, David?
I do.
Yeah.
I was in a very different place, and Lorraine wasn't anything that I was looking for. We had worked together for years, and I had my eye on lots of other girls, and Lorraine's soul spoke to me. It was months later, after we were dating, that somebody pointed out how cute Lorraine was and how this Lorraine was and everything. And I had to make a special note to take a look because I had not noticed.
Wow, that is so awesome. So you were both teenagers, and then how did you decide, okay, so I've taken a special note. So when did you decide, okay, so let's see how this works?
I would say about a year later, thereabouts, started getting more serious. And then 2 summers after we'd met and started dating, I had decided that Lorraine was going to be my forever girl. Lorraine wasn't as sure.
Well, I had been, because my parents did not agree to us dating.
Okay.
My parents were first generation to Canada,
Okay.
and they wanted me to marry somebody more of my background. But when I brought Dave home, my parents looked and they went, "He's white." And I was kind of confused because I really didn't know there's a difference. And then I told Dave, and Dave was going, "I didn't even know there was a difference. Like we didn't understand." And then I had to live on my own to date Dave. So as a young girl that just graduated, I had to build a life on my own. So I got my own apartment, and I lived what I call the Mary Tyler Moore life. Yeah. You know, you had a little place, and I was building furniture and stuff, and Dave wanted to get married, and I was kind of going, "But you're going to university. I've got a job at the bank. I've got this apartment," and his parents would not agree to us living together. There was no living together for us. Yes. We had to. Dave had to live with his, and I lived in my apartment. But Dave really wanted a life together, and at 19, 20, you don't understand. Like, I was kind of going, "We're happy the way we are," and Dave was like, "I want more. I want marriage." Mm-hmm. So then we told his parents that we were getting married, and his parents just about died because they were going, "You're not old. You haven't experienced enough.
You haven't experienced life." Yeah.
And Dave was like, "I really want to get married, and we'll build our life together. Whatever it is, we'll work our lives together."
So because you mentioned because of your cultural background, your parents were not very supportive of your relationship and marriage. What about your parents, David? Did they support your love to Lorraine?
Oh, yes. They just didn't want me to lock in and be married.
At a young age.
Lorraine was a good choice. They were supportive of that.
Yeah.
Just not right then. So they would prefer that there was a delay
in life.
And I wasn't having any delays.
So why did you manage to convince both parents? Because we are here now, like you are ready and you're getting married.
Dave's got a strong will. Okay. So I thought, we've put it off for a few years. But he was like, "No, we're getting married next year." So I'm like, "Next year? Yep." And May long weekend, which turned out to be May 19th. Yeah. We'll get married May 19th. So I'm like, "Okay, let's talk to your parents," because I knew his parents didn't agree. Yeah. But his mom was like, "He's got such a strong will. Yeah. Get married. Yeah. We will honor whatever you decide." Mm-hmm. But their one rule was I had to tell my parents. Yeah. So I did tell my parents. And, at that point, I think they knew that we were going to get married.
The train was on the track.
Yeah.
So they
got on board. My dad walked me down the aisle.
Yep.
My mom was there, my brothers, my sisters. Mm-hmm. It turned out really good. Mm-hmm. Like, it did. For two young people kind of, going through life, it was a commitment for us.
Okay. Yeah. That's wonderful. So apart from having a cultural background, did you have like different religion background, or what else?
No, we
both are Catholic. Yes. So luckily, my parents only went to church on Christmas Day. Okay. But Dave's parents went to church every week, and they were involved in their church. Mm-hmm. And so for me to see Dave on Sundays, I had to go to church. Okay. So I started going with his family to church. And it was good for us because his family was involved in the church. So then
we were as well.
we ended up becoming involved too.
So you got married after knowing each other for a couple of years, as I'm gauging. It was 3 years.
3 years,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, that's good. And then courted for a year before you got married.
Well, it was 3 years total.
Oh, just courting and knowing each other.
It was
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a good chunk of. So what were you doing? What was that like beginning of your courtship? Was it like you shared hobbies, or did you just, how was that, those initial stages of knowing each other?
So I think I led a very sheltered life.
Okay.
My parents, we led a very first generation to Canada. Your parents are scared to let you do a lot of things. Like I learned, we played hockey, we played all the stuff with the kids in the neighborhood and stuff like that. Yes. But Dave led a life where his parents really showed him a lot of other things. Yes. And he was very sports-minded. Yeah. I'm not sports-minded. Yeah. So I loved to watch him play sports, to go cheer him on and stuff. And he was always into different things. Yeah. So I could just follow through and just enjoy what he did.
So how long have you been married now?
We just celebrated our 40th anniversary.
40th anniversary, wedding anniversary, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But we have a slightly more, not more important. We have another anniversary coming up as well.
Yeah.
You have another anniversary?
Yes, we do.
So we always celebrate February 11th.
Okay, why February 11th?
It's the anniversary of our first kiss.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
So this is the 44th anniversary of our first kiss.
First kiss will be this February.
Oh, that is so wonderful. In the honor of the Upia TV and celebrating Valentine and love, will you be honored to show us the kiss?
Oh, yes.
Oh, that is so wonderful, guys.
And that
we have
kiss,
celebrated with you.
I'll never forget, came with, Dave was so nervous, he was shaking.
Yeah.
And he must have brushed his teeth because he had Colgate taste on his And so I always laugh because I always go, oh, I remember that kiss.
Oh, that is so wonderful. I've never met anybody who people remember, but I've never met anyone who celebrates their first kiss. And have an anniversary for their first kiss. Oh, that is so wonderful. So what are the challenges that you have faced in your marriage?
Wow. Wow.
When we first got married, Dave was in school. Yeah. And I was working. And, it's financially. Yes. Right? Then I think as you have kids, you struggle because you're, one has to take care of the kids. One is trying to make money to keep the house going. And just to keep all the activities going. And then I think as your kids become teenagers and they're becoming adults, you struggle with, how to help them and how to let them grow on their own. And then now, we worry about our kids. They don't have, we were lucky in what we had and how we attained it. Now they're trying to attain things with a different, it's a different lifestyle. Yes. And then now we have a granddaughter that we worry about, and struggle.
But each stage has been an adjustment. Every time something new happens, it upsets the balance. Yeah. And we have to talk it through, figure out what the new way to do things is.
Yeah.
And then once we master that, another curveball and another curveball, and There's never been, I don't think, a time where we've rested in one spot for very long before there's another change on the horizon.
Yeah. And even our parents now, you know, struggle. We have to take care of them.
Yes.
And sometimes you're taking care of your kids and your parents, you know.
Yes.
And I'm really blessed to have Dave
Yeah.
as my partner
Yeah.
with this, you know.
But it's been a journey of many, 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 many stages. You know, there was a time when we were poor and just married, and we thought, well, if only we get a house,
Yes.
if only we get a better job, life will be fine and we'll sail off into the sunset. Well, it turns out that there's another hurdle right around the corner. You know, I remember having 3 young children, and all of them were in diapers, and all of them required gripe water and different creams and everything. And I was wondering, we're in the Safeway store, is there ever going to be a day when we can go down through this store and not go through this darn baby aisle? and sure enough, that day came.
Yes.
And yet there was something else.
Yes.
And there was something else. And I remember we were at the Stampede, and we had, our youngest was maybe 2, maybe 3. And we had the world's cheapest umbrella stroller, which was our go-to for events out there in the world. And one wheel broke, and it was a pivotal moment in our life. We left that stroller in a garbage can at the Stampede.
Never to be bought again.
And we thought, well, life will be easy now. We don't have a stroller to worry about. This would be great.
Yes.
And yet there was more challenges around the corner.
Yeah.
And I've stopped a long, long time ago wishing for that future date.
Yes.
I don't worry about that anymore.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, we know that there'll be challenges. We know there'll be difficult days.
Yes.
But we don't dream about the time that it's going to be finished.
Yeah.
We enjoy the today.
You enjoy that today.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't worry about wishing that tomorrow would come anymore. There was a time I think we did.
And in everything nowadays, we try to look for a blessing or something positive.
Yes.
And that's a very important part of our day,
Yes.
is when we have our meal.
Yes.
We always talk about a negative thing in our day,
Yes.
an interesting thing in our day,
Yeah.
and a positive thing in our day.
Okay.
And everybody that comes to our table,
Yes.
we always,
Everybody
talks.
has to play.
Yes.
The game.
And it gives everybody a chance to share their day,
Yes.
but also to share their positives. There's so much that goes on that we don't take notice of
Yeah.
unless we make a special effort.
Yes.
And so we try to do that every day.
Yes.
Well, we do it every day. Yeah.
We do it, whether it's the 2 of us or whether it's 20 people in
So
this
you
house.
have to talk about your challenges, your success, and
Something interesting that you learned in your day.
in your relationship. You have this emphasis. You say that you talk about it. You, when there's a new stages, you talk about it. You figure out how to handle it, and then every new stages there's that. How did you learn how to come to communicate together? How did you get there?
Well, both of us, because, you know, we can be opposites with things,
Yeah.
but we also now know that if I'm at a certain place in my life, Dave might not be there.
Yeah.
So I have to slow it down, and he knows he might have to speed it up a little so we can get to the right spot,
Okay.
right? And it's time that we do it, and it's, really it's talking you have to take the time to talk and be honest with, what you're feeling and how you're feeling. Or sometimes it's, I need to have just some space to think it through. So I'm more of a think it through. Dave is more of a journal. He journals every day, whereas I need to. So we.
The core question, how did we learn? By doing it wrong a lot. By getting it wrong a lot. There's no doubt about it that getting it wrong, it's obvious when it's wrong. It really is. And we're far better as a team. We're far better when we're talking and being respectful of the other person.
And we remind each other. We're far stronger in this world together than trying to do it separately. And I think that being kind of in our one reminding the other, if the other one's very upset, just remind them. And then it's, you're right. That makes sense.
Has there reached a point that, okay, he's far ahead, I'm far behind, or whatever the reason is, and whatever the thing is that you're discussing, and it's like, I can't do this. Like, have you reached a point is like, no, I can't deal with this person,
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like,
And I think years ago, when our daughter was, and I remember we were just so unhappy and angry with each other. And here we had one that was 2 and one on the way. And I remember going, I don't know how we're going to do this. And Dave was fed up. And I remember falling. And I didn't even want him to help me. And he didn't want to help me. And I remember thinking, why are we like this bad with things? Like this angry with each other. But it just, you stop and you think, is there anybody else in this world you'd ever want to journey? And I'm like, no, you know what? He's the one. And we sat down. We have to figure this out, because we're not on the same page. And I think Dave was working long hours. I was at home with the kids. And I was lonely. And he's working long hours. He's coming home. He's exhausted. So all he wants to do is just sleep and just kind of, and, we've had to figure out how to slow that down.
And we did.
It not overnight. But, it's just the slow little things that we figured out. And I think that's what marriage is. How do we figure this out?
So it's not like because it's bad, because usually it's like, it is bad, we can't figure it out. You go your way, I go my way, or you live together. I've heard this phrase, and I don't know if you're comfortable agreeing or disagreeing. I hear that most marriages start ending in the bedroom. So the marriage, it's just in the living room, in the public, but in the bedroom, that's where the marriage starts to end. Coming forward, would you say that statement is true?
No.
Not for us. I don't think we don't. I don't think we operate differently depending on who's watching or who's not. I think we're pretty authentic all the way through. No, I don't. That may be true of marriage in general, but that's certainly not.
But to me, that would be a very lonely married person. First of all, you'd be a very lonely individual. And then it would be a very lonely marriage, right? Because I think from the bedroom to the living room to where you go is your marriage. Are we going to hold hands tomorrow? Are we going to laugh at each other tomorrow? When things are better. And the bedroom is our sanctuary. That's where, we go to take care of each other. If you're upset and you need to crawl into a ball, you can go there, but you'll have that other person put his arm around you.
Yes.
Not even say it's going to be okay. Just put his arm around you.
So, what is your love language? Can I say, like, for example, what is David's love language?
I don't know if I'm comfortable with that.
No, I want Lorraine to answer.
Oh,
What's
okay.
David's love language?
Yeah, as you know it.
For one thing, I think it's food. If you feed him, he's happy and he's in love. Okay. Mine is I can cook. So, but his other love language is I have to be his biggest cheerleader in life, right? And I also have to be the one that can take him down if he's not behaving too, right? So, yeah.
That's good. And David, what's Lorraine's love language?
I don't know. I haven't thought about that. I would say listening. I would say listening. I intentionally married a very smart, very driven woman, and I love listening to her. She's got so much to say, whether it's feelings or ideas or thoughts or whatever. I would say being a good listener is
I can come up with ideas every second.
Yes.
And they're great ideas, and I'm going to do it. And Dave's the one kind of going, he used to go, no.
Yeah.
But now he goes, well, how can we do this?
Oh, wow.
And sometimes the ideas kind of, fizzle out. And other times the ideas come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
So you support each other's ideas,
for sure.
Yeah.
work through them together. You don't shut each other down.
No. And we learned that. Like, we've really had to learn
Yes.
that whatever that person's idea is,
Yes.
we have to honor it.
Okay.
And if it doesn't happen, that's okay.
Yes.
And if it does happen,
Yes.
good on us.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Well, there's a parable,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure where I learned it or where I heard it.
Yes.
Have you ever been in a room when the most beautiful woman or the most beautiful man came into the room, and beautiful woman comes into the room, and all the guys drop everything to dote over this beautiful woman and to do whatever she likes,
Yes.
no matter how nutty or how crazy?
Yeah.
What if the most beautiful woman in the world asked me to do a chore around the house?
Yes.
Shouldn't my response be to dote all over that beautiful woman,
Yes.
to do whatever she wants, to curry favor with this beautiful woman? But it did happen.
Yes. It happened for you. And you're doing it.
Yeah.
And you've done it for 40 years.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
We've evolved into,
Yes.
but never, ever not,
Yeah.
like, yeah, there's times where you're unhappy and, but I mean, you're stronger together.
You're stronger together.
Yeah.
And that's a very good
But if you
thing
use
to
that
do.
lens,
Yes.
if you use that lens that the most beautiful woman in the world asked me to do something,
Yes.
the most beautiful partner, why wouldn't I?
So what is there something that you would advise young couple who are in marriage or people who are already married and they are in those stages of confusion? They don't know where they feel like they want to end their marriage, or they feel like maybe they made the wrong decision and they're about to give up.
For me, I would say, try to understand that other person where they're coming from.
Yeah.
What is important to them?
Yeah.
Is that your important value? Yeah. Can you make it your important value? Yeah. And I honestly think there's no harm in going to counseling to seek a person who doesn't know either of you to give you advice. And sometimes, not the first counselor is the best, but find one that works for the two of you and make it and try to live that. there's a lot of things that you can do just for the two of you to understand just your value system.
Just thinking about it, I don't know if I'm qualified to even answer the question.
But from your heart.
From my heart, what's worked for us is to have a sense of commitment and team and togetherness, and that means being together, and that's the most important thing. And when you think about it in those terms, instead of thinking about separation, instead of thinking about how do I get away from the problem, how do I get away from this person, fight that urge and get closer. That's what's worked for us. The idea of separation, it just never seems to have appealed to us.
No.
And when it's challenging to be together, that's when you have to try even harder. But I don't know if that's a universal recipe or a universal truth.
Like I would say, work harder, but take the time to take care of yourself too, and then know, a common goal together. I truly believe, like, in a marriage where there's no abuse or you can work through anything.
Yeah, most people, they say, oh no, we have unreconcilable differences, we can't work it through. But in your opinion, that if there is no abuse, people can work through things through. There are many hardships, things like maybe financial hardships, different opinions, and many things seems like deal breakers. But if they can overcome all those things if they want to work it out.
And I think the same thing with financial hardship.
Yes.
There was a time where, Dave would bring the check home.
Yeah.
I would spend it.
Yeah.
It was done. But then I started making a budget. Yeah. I showed him the budget. Yeah. We live within the budget because we're sharing together.
Yes.
And that was a thing that grew in our marriage, right? This is our way of securing financial security is how do we do this together? Yes. Dave doesn't want to sit down and do the budget. Yes. It's important for me to do the budget. He just likes to make sure he's got his spending money. Yes. And I make sure he has the spending money, but I also make sure, we're saving for everything that we're trying, whatever our goals are.
But we've worked out how to divide up things and how to share. Okay. And we have virtually no secret life. Yeah. We know what's on each other's phones. Yeah. We know what's in each other's calendars. Yes. We know what's in this budget spreadsheet. We know what's here. We know the passwords for this and that and the other thing. Yes. Our default is together. Yeah. Our default is to share. Yeah. Our default is to be one. Wow. We don't even think about it. We had somebody react the other day and said, what, his password for his phone? Well, duh. Yeah. Of course.
There shouldn't be anything on either of our phones that we wouldn't be able to show each other. Right?
Or
short of like a Christmas present or...
Which is really hard. Yeah. Really hard at times. But for the most part, everything is a shared experience. And that's maybe our secret sauce is it's not me against the world. It's the two of us against the world.
Two of you against the world, not one of you.
No. Yeah. It's always the both of us.
That is so wonderful. That is like incredible because in this day and age, it's I, myself, and I. Even couples, it's like my phone, this, my this, my that. And many people just go in that union with the flow. Like we most people live in different lifestyles. Yeah, I have friends who are married. I'm married myself, but every marriage is so different, and yours, I think it's a good example, and I am so glad you agreed to do this with us, because we are learning so much. Guys, you have to be you against the world, not you against each other, because there's no way. When you get married, it's two becoming one, but we usually forget. We see the other person as they are different from us, but that is just a lie, because if you're weak as your weakest point. So if your partner is not strong, you're not strong, as Lorraine and David have been really trying to tell us in many ways. Together is better than being alone in a relationship, right?
Yes, definitely.
So
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
so what is the one lovely thing, David, you can say to Lorraine about your feelings to her in a special way that you haven't maybe said in a while? And yeah.
That I haven't said in a while.
Yes.
Oh, that's hard.
From your heart.
From my heart, that's easy. I do say it, but my one special thing is that I will love you forever.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think at this 40 years, you look at each other and you say, there's nobody else in this world I'd want to journey but you. You know, our kids, our family, they come, but you're the one steady person in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I said on my 40th anniversary. You're the one steady person in my life, you know, that is my cheerleader, my kicks me in the butt, you know, but at the end of the day, we hold hands and is my rock.
Wow. Guys, I hope you're encouraged. If you're going through hard time, if you're in love, you're falling in love, please let us listen to what David and Lorraine has advised us. I'm so emotional right now. I'm excited and humbled, and I hope this will help your marriage. I'm for sure know it's gonna help mine. God bless you. Until next time, you're fearfully and wonderfully made. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
That was
Derek.
so lovely. Thank you.